Good to be back. Yeah. I want you guys to know I'm okay. I'm doing good. It's been a process like it was last time, but I think RV and those guys have done an excellent job making sure we kind of cross all the T's, dot all the I's. I think Coach and Mr. Gettleman have done a good job throughout this whole situation, and the fans and all the guys around the league and everyone making sure I was okay has been awesome. And I know you guys got a lot of questions about what happened on Thursday, but I appreciate it. We've moved on from that and trying to put that to rest. So I think with that, answer any questions you guys got.
So when Ryan told you, told you weren't going to play Monday night, what was that like?
For me, everyone knows I want to play, and I like being out there on Monday Night Football. And I enjoy playing in that stadium. I enjoy being on the field with the guys, and so I want to play. And I think everybody knows that, and I know coaches know that. And he came in and told me that, and I want to be out there, and I think that's probably the biggest thing. But once that was said, my mindset changed from getting ready to play to getting ready to help Shaq and AJ and Thomas and making sure those guys had what they needed to be successful for that game. So, your mind changes a little bit as far as I'm going to get myself ready to play versus get myself ready to help these guys. So, he came in and he let me know, and my mindset, like I said, is now, all right, now I'm going to start recognizing formations. Maybe I can show Shaq some stuff that I picked up during the week. So those guys stepped in and did a good job. And AJ and Shaq this whole time have done an awesome job. And I think that was to be expected of those guys because AJ and those guys do an excellent job of preparation, regardless if they're going to play or not. I think we're very fortunate to have two guys like that, along with Thomas and Ben and David and Jared and Jeremy that can step in and do a good job.
Mindset that you're not going to play the rest of the year?
Oh no! So he said, you're not gonna play this week, and then we'll kind of go on from there. So, I'm crossing my fingers every week that they're going to give me the thumbs up to go. But those guys have a good plan in place of what they want to do and what's best for the team. So, I'm gonna prepare like I'm playing. I'm gonna make sure I can be ready to go. But we'll see what happens, kind of moving forward with it.
A year ago when this happened, the team won in your absence. This year with the losses, how frustrating is it to sit out and watch the season in essence slip away?
I think I don't know, I wouldn't say frustrating. I think, even last year, kind of the same as this year, is you just want to play. And that's probably the most frustrating part, if that's what you want to call it. You want to be out there and playing because that's what you prepare the whole year for and the whole season for, is to be out there playing. But a couple things haven't gone our way this year, but I really do enjoy watching Shaq and AJ out there with Thomas running around playing well. Those guys have both, along with Thomas, have made some big plays in games that have helped us win, and that's what's fun is to let AJ go out there because he works so hard and get a chance to go out and play, and he's done a good job for us.
This seems like a simple question, but what's it like being in the concussion protocol, and what was it like for you?
It was just kind of, there's steps in place that you need to take, and like I said, our guys do an excellent job of making sure that every aspect of it is crossed off, and you just got to go through the necessary steps to pass it. There's a couple of doctors you got to see. There's some tests you have to pass. So they do a good job with it here, making sure that they don't skip things, they don't look over things, and the whole time I'm in it, you just want to make sure you just want to get out there as soon as you can to play. So it's a process. I think it's a good process. Our guys do an excellent job with it. Everyone knows that I want to be out there as soon as I can. So when you're in it, you want to get out of it.
There have been some other people, including some players who were quoted anonymously, who suggested they think you ought to consider retiring because it was your second one in as many years. Is that something you've considered even a little bit?
No, you appreciate those guys, wanting what's best for you, and it's a thing that we're learning more about. But I trust what our doctors have to say. I trust RV and our coaches and all those guys, and I want to get out there and play. And this most recent time, just like the last time, everyone said you're good to go. As long as what I said last year is holds true. Is just let it get better, and then go from there. So I'm excited whenever the opportunity is, but I'm holding off that retirement word for probably a little ways down the road. So it's something you appreciate everybody concerned with how you're doing, but whenever my opportunity comes back, I'll be back out there.
When do you think, though, and maybe not the retirement word, but long-term effects, and obviously concussions are severe. You say, I want to get back out there, and all that's fair and fine, but you're a smart guy, and you understand what happens to guys with multiple concussions at 50, at 60.
What happens to them?
Well, there's more guys who are turning up with CTE if they have multiple concussions, and that's what the science is saying.
Yeah. No, I'm not worried. I'm not worried about that. I think there's still a lot to be learned from it. I think there's some studies out there that can say that, but I'm not a doctor, and I trust what our guys say, and I'm going to play football, and that's what I do, and that's what I like to do, and I'm not concerned with that stuff until somebody tells me otherwise.
Luke, if they recommended that you just don't play the final 2 games, would you understand?
Reluctantly, I suppose. I've said it, a million times. I want to play and I want to be out there with the guys, and I think everyone knows that. But our guys have done a great job in the past and currently of figuring out what's best for not only me but our team, and I trust what those guys have to say. They have a great plan in place, and I want to play, but you gotta. They're the boss, and I got to listen to what the boss says. So whatever they decide is going to be the plan, and we'll just see what happens.
What's it like to be on the end when people are telling you what you should do with your life? When it's whether you shouldn't play this year or not again?
Well, I think a lot of people have an idea of what's going on, and they don't necessarily know what's going on with each individual person. I think there's a stigma of what a concussion is and stuff like that, but they don't know each individual's the situation and what's going on with them. And like I've said, I appreciate everybody for the support they have, and like I said, the doctors have done a great job. But I'm gonna try to get out there as soon as I can, and I think everyone's situation is different, and I think from what I've been told from the people I've talked to, they gave me the thumbs up, and I trust what those guys have to say, and we'll just kind of go from there.
I respect what you said about not wanting to talk about that Thursday night. But the image that people have from that is seeing you in a state that we don't usually see you in. Do you remember any of that? And can you just briefly talk about that?
I just the thing that I appreciate about that situation was the amount of support that people showed, and just that you play a game and it's an intense game and it's a battle, but at the end of the day, everybody understands that it's just a game, and from fans to the guys on the other team and the texts that would come in from different people, that it's a game, but at the end of the day, everyone wants to make sure that each person is okay. So, it was one of those situations, like I said, it was in the past, we moved on from it, and, you just appreciate the support that people have had for you.
Luke, I've talked to a couple players who told me they had the same reaction that you did, the emotional reaction. It just happened not to be on Thursday Night Football. Is it your understanding that that was the sort of reaction that was kind of just beyond your control?
Joe, I appreciate that question. I don't really want to get into that. I think for me that's kind of some personal medical stuff that you don't want to get into, and it's kind of what it is right now.
Come back and watched it.
Yeah, Dave, I've answered a couple questions. I don't want to answer anymore.
How was this recovery period different from the first one? I think you said you had to. Things were a little cloudy the last time. Was this one
kind of the same idea? I think this one actually was a shorter. I think the same amount of time. I think. I don't know what this one. I think it was about the same time, but kind of the same deal. You just got to make sure you're back and everything's clicking before you can get rolling.
Luke, how do you not let this affect you when you do return to game action the way you
just
play
play
this
football. It wasn't an issue last year, and I don't foresee it being an issue next time I play again.
We face Atlanta, twice a year. I know they're really good offensively right now. I know they missed Julio Jones last week. But what maybe one aspect of their offense are they really doing really well right now?
Obviously everybody knows about Julio and Matt and those guys, but I think their backfield's good. I think it's really good. I think Devontae Freeman's really good. I think Patrick DeMarco, their fullback, I don't think he gets enough credit for what he's able to do. And Tevin Coleman, those guys are all really good, and they all kind of have a different feel to them. Devontae Freeman, I think, is a stud. I think he's really good. I think he's quick. He's got a good burst. He can catch the ball. He's from here to here as fast as anyone. And they do a good job up front. I think their run game doesn't. Maybe it does. I don't know, but I think they do a really good job in that aspect of the game. I think Alex Mack does a good job of holding that line down. I think he's a big part of what they do, and kind of like Ryan. Ryan does a really good job for us, and I think that's the part of their offense that doesn't get enough respect, because those guys are all really good, and those three, namely Devontae and Coleman and DeMarco, I think are really good players.
What your position is that of a
Will you play in the Pro Bowl, or are you going to leave that decision up to coaching staff? Or
Yeah, we got these next few games, and then I just like the games, this week and next week, I'm going to play in them, and we'll see what happens. But it's an exciting situation with all the guys that got picked. I'm super happy for Thomas, because he's played great so many years, and now he's kind of getting some recognition. So it's a cool deal for all those guys, and we'll just we'll move forward with that, just kind of like we're moving forward with the games.
Cool.
Cool.
Thanks, Luke. We got to go.
Yep. All right. One more. We'll get Joe. One more for Joe.
You talked about the
As
reaction.
long as it's a nice question, Joe.
Well, I hope you won't be upset by it, but what'd your family think of this?
Yeah, my mom and dad are parents, and that's they're my parents, and they want what's best for me, and they understand that I love playing football, but they want what's best for their son, and that's kind of where they are with it. But they trust what I have to say, and they trust what our doctors and coaches and Mr. Gettleman will do. So that's where we're at right now. Cool. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.